Hey guys, you are watching your anime world. How are you all? Please support to subscribe this channel for watching new interesting stories. So in this video, we will see what if Deku unlocked the cosmic power of Lionheart. Here is short summary. A young Izuku Midoriya is caught in a fierce thunderstorm when he is walking home with his mother, guiding him towards a pillar of cosmic and mystical origins. Izuku gains something that will turn him into a new great strength in the world of heroes and villains. How will the wood handle the strength of a true hero? But before we start, if you want more stuff like this, then be sure to subscribe and like this video. And if possible, share this video with your friends. Now let's start the story. A 7-year-old boy with green hair can be seen running through the streets of Mustafa, Japan during a fierce rainstorm. The boy's name is Izuku Midoriya, a boy born to a superhuman society with powers known as quirks. He is among 20% of the world's population without these special abilities known as quirks. A freak rainstorm pushes him towards the old city park. Izuku is trying to find cover in the park from the thunder, and lightning runs into an old cave. Young Izuku, resting inside, looks inside said cave. As he is looking, he sees a cave. Before young Izuku could examine it further, he hears shouts of, "Izuku! Izuku, where are you, my baby boy?" shouted by his mother Inko Midoriya as she looks around for her son. Before Izuku could run to her, he sees something from the pillar calling to him. He moves to touch it. The pillar soon glows with bright light. "Go to your mother, as for many years from now you must come back when you are old enough for a test of the spirit and courage," said a disembodied voice as Izuku looks around slightly scared but nods neither the less to come back. Izuku for his part unknowingly discovered something that would allow him to fulfill his dream in a major way. Izuku for his part will remember what will be the most important day of his life that will unknowingly change the hero's world forever. As Izuku run towards his mother so they could get home. Time skip 6 years later. A 13-year-old Izuku Midoriya can be seen walking towards the old Mustafa Park. Izuku has the appearance of being a victim of a gang attack mixed in with an explosion. Izuku for the remainder of his childhood and up to his last year in middle school has been bullied viciously by his classmates for his lack of a quirk, with the most vicious of his bullies being Katsuki Bakugo, a teen with an explosion-related quirk that belittles Izuku every time he brings up heroism, while also boasting of wanting to be the best hero to surpass All Might. Izuku for his part deep down knew Katsuki is no true hero for all of his potential. He is more so a tyrannical bully for people who are weaker than him in some way. Izuku was deep in thought to what he's experienced over the years from being bullied by his quirked peers while none of his teachers did nothing for him in school. He thinks about all of those times he was beaten up for his dream of being a hero. Izuku then suddenly has a realization about his dream of being a hero. What does it mean to be a hero? Is it about fame? Is it about glory? That what makes a hero? As he is walking, Izuku starts to feel a pull from a particular direction. Izuku for his part goes towards the direction of the old park where he discovered a pillar of strange design and origin 8 years ago. Izuku goes towards the cave that had he found said pillar. In going inside, he sees said pillar unaffected by time and undiscovered by no one except himself. Izuku walks up to the glowing pillar to examine it better than before. He continues until he hears, "Welcome back, young one. Are you ready for the test of courage that will test your spirit and willpower so you can gain the secrets of superhumanity?" asked the disembodied voice Izuku heard years ago. "What do these tests inquire about?" asked Izuku as he looks around the cave. "Test of character, test of principle, test of virtue. These are the tests that will test your courage and will in these particular areas. For in each you will make a choice that makes your desire to be a hero possible," said the disembodied voice as Izuku thinks about this prospect that the voice of this mysterious pillar has given him. A chance to be a hero, a symbol for those who are often attacked, ized or victimized, whether it be a quirkless criminal, a villain or a hero who gets too big for his pants. The last part Izuku heard was when he was eavesdropping on some delinquents of another junior high talking about how they want to emulate said actions. Izuku, while also thinking about All Might, the #1 hero. While he is a symbol of peace, he is a symbol that is waning in times that needs something that's in need of a champion, as the crime rate is steadily but very rapidly rising. Villains popping out of the woodwork, some of which Izuku himself believes was caused by quirk discrimination. Izuku for his part makes a decision that will change the world itself. "I accept your test," said Izuku as soon the pillar glows, permeating him and release a bright light within the cave. Inside of another dimension, Izuku looks around to see a training ground in a desert-like environment. As he looks around he doesn't notice a towering Amazon-like woman in armor distinctive to warrior women of Mongolia. "Greetings, young Izuku, welcome," said the warrior Amazon as she looks at Izuku in question. "What is this place?" asked Izuku as he looks at the woman in question while blushing at her gaze. Izuku internally hasn't gotten used to being around the fair, specifically those of the beautiful caliber. The woman in front of him is like a warrior goddess. "Well, young Izuku, this place is known by many names. But right now call it the Golden Temple. This is where the Pillar of Fire and Storms have teleported you here. This is where you will be trained and taught in its knowledge and secrets by some of the most valiant combatants in various cultures of many dimensions and return home," answered the warrior woman. "So who are you?" asked Izuku as she looks at the woman. "I am Cthulhu of Mongolia," answered the woman as Izuku was shocked by the woman's name. "She is the legendary warrior princess and descendant of Genghis Khan," thought Izuku as she looks at the warrior woman in question. "So what is my first test of the Pillar of Fire and Storms, Cthulhu?" asked Izuku as he looks at the warrior woman in question. "Your first test will be the test of principle," said Cthulhu as a portal opens. "Go through this portal and your test will begin," said Cthulhu as Izuku walks through the portal after Cthulhu takes his items to keep them safe. The next 4 hours has Izuku tested from the test of principle. Izuku was tested on how a situation of a hero killing a woman after raping her, all while he witnessed the act from a distance. Izuku was threatened by the hero to keep silent when he spotted him. Izuku looks at him and spits in his face for his vile action. That resulted in his beating. Izuku, when he recovered, still outed the hero, which resulted in the hero being dishonored in the eyes of the world and jailed for the action. When the test ended, Izuku had went to another portal. He found himself in the test of character. He sees a woman being beaten by her husband in front of their children for the very thing he has experienced, being quirkless after discovering he had gained a quirk and used it to discover such treatment. Izuku goes to report such treatment to the authorities. Izuku comforted the children who had experienced said treatment, giving them hope about heroism like what Izuku was feeling despite his own quirklessness. Izuku's final test was one in the future. When Izuku found himself in his home, he discovered the citizen's arrest law has been abolished. All hell broke loose as quirkless people were being attacked and victimized in the worst ways possible. He finds his mother defiled and dead. Izuku feels rage at the government, decides to stand up and fight back for the common quirkless as he becomes a vigilante, taking the fight to the quirk people who abuse their power. Izuku inspires the people who proceed to take back their streets and lives. Soon the final portal opens and he walks back inside of the Golden Temple. "You have finished your tests and shown you have what it takes to gain the knowledge and wisdom of superhumanity to fulfill your dream of heroism," said Cthulhu as several figures appear, so his training and journey begins. Time skip 3 years later. At Aldera Junior High, things have become different for one Izuku Midoriya, who for the most part had essentially faded from existence as he has been spending more time inside of the library and off the streets being trained in secret by some of the most valiant of fighters in human history. He had taken up learning multiple languages along with the multiple forms of martial arts and combat taught by his teachers of the Golden Temple and the ones he is learning on his own. Izuku for his part, while people hasn't noticed, had developed a physique and build akin to that of an American football quarterback and an Olympic gymnast, not as muscled but not too lean. Izuku's training had dug deeply into bodybuilding, weightlifting, gymnastics and classical parkour through the natural method, effectively turning him into a nimble but powerful athlete of a student that stood at 6 feet 0. Izuku during his training had overall developed into an extremely skilled athlete and fighter after training in various different methods of fighting and fighting arts from different time periods. At the moment in his homeroom class, Izuku is reading a book called How Heart Can Take You Places by John Bogard in Japanese. Many of the girls and some boys that had bullied him had developed an attraction to him, unknowing that he is Izuku Midoriya. As the class was getting settled, as the teacher shows up. The teacher walked inside of the room with a happy smirk. Now I know that all of you are in your 3rd year, so I will be passing out forms to help you with your future plans, but why bother since I know that all of you want to go to the hero track, said the teacher as he throws the sheets up in the air as the students shout in excitement, use their quirks. Hey teacher, don't lump me with these losers, they'll probably end up as sidekicks, said one Katsuki Bakugo. What makes you better than any of us? Said a student as he looks at the loud blonde. I am going to the number 1 school in the country. Hi, said Bakugo as he smirks while everyone is chattering about the blonde getting into that school. The blonde's smugness ends when the teacher replies. Actually Bakugo, you're not the only one, as Izuku Midoriya is also applying to UA. Bakugo looks furious as Izuku continues reading his book as the blonde looks at the brunette in question who is still reading as he lifts his head up and asks, "Did someone call my name?" As everyone except Bakugo looks at him with shock as they all thought that Izuku was a new student that was mute. Deku, I don't care if you got bigger from some growth spurt. You're still a delusional quirkless fool if you think you're getting into UA, said Katsuki as he looks at Izuku as he looks at the more athletic brunette who stares at him blankly as says. Why should I? Because you say so. Or does your pride speaks for you? As Bakugo is about to make his foolhardy retort until the bell rang ending school. Have a nice day everyone, said Izuku as he goes on his way as everyone was still shocked at Izuku's change in appearance and attitude. Bakugo doesn't like it and decides he wants to reassert his dominance over the brunette goes to teach him a lesson. He and his gang of flunkies move to give Izuku a beating. Before they couldn't even teach him this lesson, Izuku had vanished from the sight of the school. With Izuku had changed out of his uniform and donned gray sweatpants and a gray hoodie with rolled-up sleeves as he began his free-running routine, moving through Mustafu with ease in an artistic acrobatic manner of his skill. He is however not alone as a girl with black hair done up in a spiked ponytail is following him from behind. Hello there, said the girl who seemed to be around his age. The two were moving through the rooftops with expert timing and ease. However, the girl, while skilled in her own right, soon finds herself mistiming a jump on a rooftop and falls. Izuku, sensing her mistimed moves, goes to catch her in an acrobatic manner that would make gymnastics of an Olympic level jealous. He manages to catch her and land holding her bridal style. Are you okay? Asked Izuku as he looks at the girl in question as Izuku for his part blushed at the girl he was holding. The girl has a beautiful face with what Izuku can see, a fierce determination in her eyes. She has a pointed ponytail. I must thank Cthulhu for helping me get over my shyness around beautiful girls, thought Izuku as he sets the girl on her feet. Yes, I am fine, thank you for the save, said the girl who looks at the taller boy in his face and thinking, he's quite handsome. Where are my manners? I am Izuku Midoriya, introduced Izuku as he looks at the girl in question. I am Momo Yaoyorozu, answered Momo as she smiles at the green-haired boy in question who smiles back. Well, I should get home, it's getting late, said Momo as she is about to leave until Izuku stops her. Wait, let me help you home, said Izuku with worry for the girl's safety. Such a gentleman, thought Momo as she and Izuku returns to the rooftops. Izuku and Momo moves through the rooftops of Mustafu as it is a concrete jungle to many who don't see it as such. Izuku looks at Momo and is amazed by her artistic movement. He could compare it to a gymnast of her build. Izuku thought to himself, incredible, she has beauty and grace in the skill of parkour. As Momo looks at him and thinks something similar to what he's thinking. Momo and Izuku nears her home. Thank you for helping me get home, hopefully we could meet again, said Momo as she makes her way to her home, a house that gives Izuku the idea of her coming from a rich background. No problem, I'm happy to help. I hope to see you again sometime, said Izuku as he himself makes his way home. As Momo walks inside the gates, she looks back to the moving Izuku and feeling deep down she will see him again. You bet, thought Momo as she thinks about the remarkable boy she had just met. With Izuku is moving through the rooftops towards his home as it's getting late. As he is moving, he hears explosions coming from street level. Looking over to side of a building, he sees a sludge-based villain holding his childhood bully hostage. Katsuki tries to get himself out, but the sludge villain's grip on him is too strong. Heroes such as MT Lady, Kamui Woods, Backdraft and Slugger are on the scene. However, the only one doing anything is Backdraft, who putting out the fires caused by Katsuki and keeping people back from danger. Izuku, seeing enough, decides to do something about it as he soon picks up a rock and throws it at Katsuki, knocking him unconscious as he then leaps on top of the sludge villain and yanks him out and throws him towards the crowd as he then leaps off of the sludge villain and back on the rooftops in an acrobatic manner, all before the sludge villain could react. The heroes minus Backdraft and another hero dog piles the sludge villain with buckets, capturing him in the process. They turned towards Izuku, who had disappeared out of sight. One skinny blonde-haired man looks at where Izuku was and thinks, incredible, that boy had shown a dynamic of strength, speed and agility like I haven't seen before. All in the name of heroism, as he thinks back to the boy's show of ease and prowess in how he saved Bakugo and slip away from the sludge villain. Back with Izuku. Izuku is moving towards his house in an acrobatic manner. As he drops down, he sees his mother waiting for him with a stern look. His mother, Izuku Midoriya, had changed for the best, as she had kept her figure due in part of her son pushing himself to never levels of physical and mental skill. "Where have you been?" said Izuku in a stern manner. As Izuku chuckles as he explains his day. The duo proceed to eat a reheated dinner when a news break pops on the TV. Breaking news. Today in Mustafu, a middle school student named Katsuki Bakugo was held hostage by a sludge villain. Before any hero on the scene could do anything, a mysterious boy with green hair had came out of nowhere and saved Katsuki with an incredible display of agility and technical precision, said the news anchor, as footage of Izuku's feat of seemingly superhuman athletic and martial prowess is being displayed. "Did you have to throw a rock at him?" asked Izuku with a really look at her son. "What, he was starting up fires. I had to do something, otherwise he would trigger more fires," said Izuku as Izuku thinks on it and shrugs in agreement. Mother and son continue to eat dinner until a knock can be heard on the door. Izuku opens it to see the heroes from said event, each one of them looking at him with a stern gaze. "Can I help you?" asked Izuku, looking at them with a calm expression. "Are you Izuku Midoriya?" asked Kamui Woods as he looks at the greenette. "Yes, I am Izuku Midoriya. What's this about?" asked Izuku as he looks at each of them. "This is about your reckless actions today," said Death Arms as he shows Izuku a picture of him free running and the footage of him saving Bakugo. "On top of illegal quirk use," said Kamui. "That wasn't quirk use, that was skill, something you three lack," said Izuku as he begins to scowl as they look at him with shock at his statement as he begins his statement. "You three showed inability to adapt your quirks in that situation," said Izuku as he points to Mount Lady. "Mount Lady, you had an opportunity to scoop up the sludge villain with a water unit to contain him in," said Izuku as the blonde heroine looks embarrassed. As he points at Death Arms, "You had a chance to disable him with a nearby fire hydrate by directing the surging water at the villain. He's made out of sludge, he would have fell apart." Izuku then points to Slugger and Kamui Woods. "You know you could broken the sludge villain to pieces with water-covered baseballs, and Kamui, you could have fished him out with a thick branch," said Izuku as he looks at all of them. "Backdraft had roles to play to keep civilians back and control the fire. My actions allowed no one to be hurt and fires to spread," said Izuku as the heroes tried to argue, with the only one being silent was Backdraft. "Well, you still can't be using your quirk in public," said Mount Lady. "News flash, I don't have a quirk. What you saw was skills in rock throwing, javelin throwing, parkour and acrobatics," said Izuku, correcting the upcoming hero. "Now would you all please leave? I have a training regimen to finish and it starts at 5:30 in the morning. Oh, and don't just focus on glory, you are doing a public service, act your role," said Izuku as he shuts the door on the heroes, who look embarrassed at how they were scolded by a teen for not being adaptable in the field. Izuku goes to shower and heads to bed, so he knows what last piece of knowledge he will be given for his training to be complete from the Golden Temple. The next day, Izuku is jogging towards the old park to finish his training in the Golden Temple. As he goes towards it, Bakugo tries to follow him, keyword tries, as he soon loses track of Izuku, who is just faster than he was. It infuriates him that Izuku has managed to outrun him. Izuku makes it inside of said cave to the pillar that soon teleports him to the Golden Temple. At the Golden Temple, "Hello Izuku, how are you?" said Cutlin as she looks at the teenage in question with a smile. Very well, Cthulhu-sensei. I have kept up my training very nicely. I am ready for the last part of my training, said Izuku. Good, now your final piece of training will be involving the arts of the spirit, for your mind and body is strong and formidable. Your spirit will need to be so to meet the challenges of the future, said Cthulhu as she looks at Izuku, who understands the meaning as a figure with a gray beard in robes akin to that of a monk or sage walks forward. Greetings, young Izuku. I am who your people call Daruma, but know to the world as Bodhidharma. I will be teaching you what you need for your journey of heroism, said Bodhidharma as he looks at a shocked Izuku. Izuku for his part is shocked that he will be taught by the legendary Bodhidharma, the very monk who has one of the biggest impacts in the world of martial arts and the world of spirituality and religion. Izuku bows in greeting and says to the aged man, "Teach me, teacher." He and Bodhidharma goes towards a place deeply secluded from the training grounds that will be beneficial to all of his martial knowledge and skills. Time skip 8 months before the UA exam. Large chunks of trash can be seen dragging along the beach by a young adult with green hair done up in a ponytail, in blue shorts and in a black tank top with no sandals. He sports a build equivalent to that of a Greek warrior in every sense of his physical build. He places the trash next to a large dumpster nearby and goes back for more. The sun shines in his face, revealing it to be one Izuku Midoriya as he is cleaning the beach of trash thrown on said beach. Izuku had finished his training under Bodhidharma. Now he must learn from his greatest teacher of all life. Izuku goes to pick up a refrigerator. He hears a shout of, "Hey!" Izuku stops and turns to see a girl with pink hair in a black tank top in matching black cargo pants and boots runs up to him. The girl appears to maturing in several areas to Izuku as he looks at her run up to him. "Who are you?" asked Izuku as he looks at the girl in question. "I am Mei Hatsume, and you're throwing away parts one need for my babies," said the now revealed Mei as she looks at Izuku with an excited smile. Izuku in a way smiles at the girl's expression. "Wow, this is the second time I have seen a beautiful girl. But this girl has an excellent sense of excitement and a will to match," thought Izuku. "Well, if you want some parts for your gadgets, then I'm willing to help. I am Izuku Midoriya," said Izuku as he shakes hands with Mei. "Wow, you are really strong," said Mei as she feels his well-muscled forearms and triceps. She senses the hardness of each muscle as she then feels Izuku's torso. "Ah well, Mei, I see you're excited, but don't you think you're getting a little handsy?" said Izuku as Mei suddenly blushes at her physical interactions with Izuku as she backs away. Izuku chuckles and proceeds to help Mei find parts for her inventions. During said search, Izuku found out that Mei has an intelligence quirk that allows her to create many of her invention. Mei had learned that Izuku's quirk involved enhanced attributes of both physical and mental aspects of the human body. As she doesn't know that his enhanced attributes aren't a quirk but naturally developed through extreme training. "This should do it for my new devices. Thank you again, Izuku Midoriya. I hope we meet again," said Mei as she takes her cart and walks away after saying goodbye to a god on earth in her mind. "Well, this beach looks better than ever before. I just hope my training is enough for the entrance exam," thought Izuku as he looks around the beach to see it's clean and trash-free. At a distance away, the blonde man from before looks at the greenette who had cleaned the beach with a great level of strength and patience. As Izuku soon walks home. That boy may actually be something else in the world of heroes. Something that when the symbol of peace isn't needed, thought the man as he looks at the cleaned beach. With Izuku. Izuku is walking home minding his own business when he sees a group of thugs are harassing a girl with pink hair and skin with eyes with black sclera and yellow irises. The goons touching her become more aggressive as one gropes her ass. Izuku, seeing enough, walks over and grabs the offending thug and places him in a wrist lock. "Okay, you boys should go home and leave her alone," said Izuku as he looks at the four in question. "Yeah, and what are you going to do about it?" said the goon as he and his friends pull out weapons. Izuku, seeing this, looks at the goons with a smirk of his own as he kicks the goon he's holding in the jewels, causing him to hunch over. The pink girl runs for cover as the trio begins to brawl with the greenette. Izuku uses his newly developed street fighting skills, fights the goons who are unprepared for the unique brawling skills Izuku is showcasing as he knocks one out with a spinning back elbow that is followed up with a rising knee to his chin. The second to last of the thugs holding a knife charges at him as he is caught by the wrist, disarmed by a wrist lock that is followed up by a headbutt and a knee to his face, knocking him out. Izuku, seeing the last thug holding brass knuckles get into a boxing stance with Izuku doing the same. The boxer of the group begins to try to use his boxing technique to fight Izuku, only to discover Izuku is also a boxer as he sticks and weaves through the boxer's technique using a combination of a jab, cross, uppercut and axe handle smash to knock him out. Izuku turns towards the girl and asks, "Are you all right?" "Yes, I am fine, thank you for dealing with these jerks. I don't know what they would have done if you hadn't shown up," said the pink girl as she looks at the boy and blushes at his physical form in question. "Wow, he is godly. Where has he been all my life?" thought the girl, who was blushing deeply. "Do you live around here? I would like to walk you home safely," said Izuku as he looks at the girl in question. "Thank you for your offer. Izuku Midoriya is my name," introduced Izuku as he looks at the girl with a smile. "Well Izuku, I am Mina Ashido, it's nice to meet you," said Mina as she looks at the boy in front of her. Mina and Izuku walk home. Mina for her part is happy she has an honest human being talking to her. Not just any human, but a human who is hot in her mind. "So you're a trained fighter?" asked Mina as she looks at Izuku in question. "Well, in a way yes, I am a trained fighter of sorts," answered Izuku in a cryptic tone that Mina slightly picks up on. "So what gym do you train at?" asked Mina as she wants to train at where her savior had trained. "Yeah, you wouldn't be able to find where I train at. Not that you couldn't, but it's something of a special sort of gym, dojo and training camp rolled into one," said Izuku in a cryptic tone as Mina is confused by the green wonder in front of her and his statement. "So tell me, what kind of quirk do you have exactly to look like you do?" asked Izuku as he looks at Mina. "Well, my quirk allows me to shoot out or secrete corrosive acid in streams or in blobs at will," explained Mina as Izuku looks at her with an interest at her quirk. "That is very interesting. With that quirk you could help clear rubble in collapsed buildings, create exits in burning buildings and many other emergency uses. Your quirk could save many lives," said Izuku as Mina blushes at the greenette's praise of her quirk. "Wow, thanks, nobody has ever said something so kind about my quirk," said Mina as she looks at Izuku with a smile. Soon the two arrive at Mina's home. Mina for her part thanks Izuku for the walk home and for saving her from a horrid situation. Izuku proceeds home in a parkour manner. He thinks about what the Cthulhu had said to him about his training's effects on people. On the day of the UA exam, Izuku is walking inside with a sense of faith in the skills he was given by the Golden Temple. Izuku takes the written test with Bakugo looking at him with rage at his attendance. At the moment he and fellow participants are in front of a fake city of sorts. "Hey everybody, this is Present Mike speaking, welcoming you to the practical part of the UA exam. In this part you will be taking down robots from 1, 2 and 3 point ranges that represent simulated villains. Excuse me, but what purpose does the 0-pointer serve if it's not a target robot? This seems irresponsible for such a prestigious school," said a boy with straight indigo hair and glasses. "I was going to get to the point that the 0-pointer is an area obstacle that is to be avoided all times," said Present Mike as the boy looks embarrassed at how he ignorantly said what he said without fully listening. Izuku sees a girl with brown hair in a bob haircut looking nervous. Walking over and easily avoiding said blue-haired who wanted to stop him. "Excuse me, Mrs. I see you're a little bit nervous. I know I am for this exam. I just want to tell you that you'll do alright, just trust in yourself and your ability," said Izuku as said girl smiles at the greenette and says, "Thank you for those inspiring words. I feel I can do it." Soon everyone is ready for the start when the gates soon open. Izuku rushes forward, surprising everyone at his abrupt speed. Force's theme from Berserk. What's everyone doing? That kid has the right idea. There are no countdowns in a real battle. So go go go, said Present Mike as everyone races into the fake city to destroy robots. Izuku sees the first 0-pointer and leaps at it, punching it in its center mass, destroying the rotary function and power supply, leaving the robot inoperable. Several people are surprised, none more so than Katsuki Bakugo as he looks at Izuku moving on the rooftops, destroying robot after robot and scoring high in the exams. Alright, time to see what Bodhidharma's teachings will help me with. thought Izuku as he stops and focuses inner word on his spirit. Remember Izuku, the power of your spirit can do things many would think impossible, said Bodhidharma in a memory of his training. Soon Izuku proceeds to turn into a dark golden lion with tremendous strength as he goes on the attack against several robots, ripping each one to shreds with his claws. Inside of the observation room. "Wow, look at that kid go, he's tearing those robots to shreds," said a man with features of a vampire. "Yes, he is showing a majestic beauty in his approach to combat," said a man of golem-like appearance as he looks at the dark golden lion in question. "Why," said a black-haired woman in rather questionable attire as she looks at the dark golden lion. "I reckon we know what that kid's quirk is," asked a man in attire of a cowboy. That's strange, his quirk status has him labeled quirkless," said a man who looks to be homeless. Everyone in the room looks at him in shock and surprise. "Quirkless? How can that kid be quirkless, Aizawa, when he shows strength only possible for a super strength quirk and the ability to turn into a dark golden lion, which only a shapeshifting quirk could do," said the disbelieving vampiric man next to him. "Vlad, I'm looking at the file for one Izuku Midoriya. His status is that of a quirkless teen, which hasn't been updated not once in his life, Vlad," said Aizawa as he shows Vlad the file, who looks in surprise at the greenette as does all the other individuals in the room. "So how is he doing such feats of strength and power in such a masterful manner?" asked the golem-like man in question. "I don't know, Cementos. But we might find out," said Aizawa as he looks at the lion rampaging through robots. Back with Izuku. Izuku has so far destroyed 24 one-pointers, 25 two-pointers and 32 three-pointers in the exam. Izuku, feeling that he has destroyed enough to get into UA, disengages his lion form and walks away to let his fellow participants gain scores. Before he can though, Izuku sees students running in his direction with fear as the zero-pointer, a massive building-size robot, is causing students to run in fear. Izuku, walking away, soon hears the girl from before crying out, trapped under rubble. Izuku, seeing her in trouble, moves to help her. Moving to her, he lifts the rubble off of her, shocking the girl when the zero-pointer moves closer to his position. Izuku throws the rubble at the zero-pointer, staggering it and allowing Izuku to charge up a powerful energy attack. "Leo's thunder!" shouted Izuku as he sends out a ball of energy at the zero-pointer's head, destroying its head. Izuku picks up the girl and carries her bridal style towards the medical station. "Are you all right?" asked Izuku as he looks at the girl in question. "Yes, I am fine, just a sprained ankle," said the girl as an old woman in a nurse's uniform walks up to them. "Well, young man, you did a good thing bringing this girl to me, and I must say I have never seen moves from heroes quite like that before," said the old woman in question. "Thanks, recovery girl, it's really heartwarming for a veteran hero like yourself to compliment me," said Izuku as he hands her an autograph book for her to sign. Back in the observation room. The heroes in the room review the footage of Izuku's battle with interest. "Incredible, the boy shows promise despite his anomaly," said Smatos as he looks at the footage. "Yes, and his strength, reactions and coordination are remarkable, especially his lion-like ferocity and power. He certainly is going to be eye candy for many women," said the woman as many of the males' sweat drops at the woman in question at her innuendos towards the greenette. "Well, aside from Midnight Ahem's statements of his appearance, he has shown himself to have incredible fighting instincts and decision-making when it comes to battle situations and emergencies, such as with young Ochako Uraraka being trapped," said a blonde-haired man as he sees that his score has finally been surpassed. "So Principal Nezu, what do you think about this Izuku Midoriya?" asked Aizawa as he looks at man who appears to be a mouse-bear hybrid. "Well, the boy is an anomaly in itself with a strange power unlike any quirk we have seen. He will be something we may have stumbled upon that will show what heroism truly is," said Nezu as he looks at the boy in question, seeing something he hasn't seen before. With Izuku. Izuku walks home confident in his enrollment in UA. As he walks, he looks at the blood moon with a smile, remembering his trainers of the Golden Temple, each one teaching him skills that will help him on his journey in the world of heroes. "Soon I will be a great hero and show the world what heroism is all about," thought Izuku as he walks home with hope and faith in himself. Izuku is meditating in his room. 4 months after the exam, Izuku received his admittance letter allowing him to join UA. He remembers his teachings in the Golden Temple from remarkable fighters of ancient to modern times. Remembering all of their skills and training they had poured inside of his mind along with the forms he learned in his dimension. Izuku soon stops and stands up getting dressed for his new school. Thankfully Izuku was given a uniform that has more flexibility to its fabric to help fit his form. He goes to eat breakfast with his mother and has his lunch prepared for him in a shack. Izuku walks towards his new school with great expectations that need to be filled. At UA, in the office of Principal Nezu, several of the facility is looking over the video footage of one Izuku Midoriya with a highly regarded quirk specialist in the room with a medical report done by her in her hand. "Well, ladies and gentlemen, your new student Izuku Midoriya is confirmed to be quirkless," said the doctor, shocking all of them with the confirmation of the greenette's quirkless nature. But how was he able to do these feats of strength and speed, and how was he able to transform into a lion like he did? There has to be a mistake, Dr. Yamoto asked Cementos as he is curious of the greenette's powers and abilities. The tests had come back negative on the quirk factor. Cementos-san, this is a mystery I haven't seen before in my life. I have seen a lot of strength and shapeshifting based quirks, but never have I seen a human with a power of a quirk without being considered quirked, said the doctor as all of the heroes in the room looks in shock and surprise at the prospect of an individual in their school with a power that isn't a quirk. All the more reason to put him in Aizawa's class, for he could discern what this boy truly has, said Nezu. Such a handsome strong boy with a mystery behind him, said Midnight as she looks at Izuku's physique with a seductive interest as all of the males in the room sweat drops at her statement. With Izuku is moving towards the school. However, he isn't alone on the rooftops as Momo is moving behind him with quick haste. "Hello Izuku, how are you doing?" asked Momo as she leaps on a pipe. "Very well Momo, I see you two got into UA, answered Izuku as he notices her uniform. The two made it to the front gates of the most prestigious school in Japan. Izuku and Momo walk side by side. "So Izuku, I was meaning to ask, what is your quirk?" asked Momo as she looks at the greenette in question. "Well Momo, the thing is I don't have a quirk," said Izuku, which surprises Momo in question. "Then how? I'll explain when we get more acquainted with each other and our classmates," interrupted Izuku as he smiles at Momo, who blushes. The two go towards their shared classroom. There the two see a indigo blue-haired boy with glasses scolding one Katsuki Bakugo who is sitting like a renegade with his feet up. Bakugo turns his head to see Izuku walking in with a girl with rooster-styled hair. "Hello there, how are you?" asked Izuku as he greets the indigo-haired boy. "Greetings, I'm sorry about what happened during the exams. I was raised to expect the best of everything," said the boy as he shakes Izuku's hand. "It was no trouble, I had a feeling about that due to your mannerisms. My name is Izuku Midoriya, but just call me Izuku," said Izuku as the boy smiles. "I am Tenya Iida, it is nice to meet you," said Tenya as he returns the smile. Another unexpected face surprises Izuku as she walks in and sees Izuku. "Mina, I didn't know you got into UA, said Izuku as he is surprised by the pinkette who walked into the room. "Yeah, I'm surprised with how you scored in the exam. You fought like a lion out there," said Mina as she looks at Izuku, who blushes at the compliment in kind. "If you all are done greeting each other, I would like to begin the introduction of class myself," said a voice as everyone looked around except Izuku, who looked at the sleeping bag in question where the voice came from. "I was wondering when you would reveal yourself," said Izuku as Aizawa revealed himself to everyone. "Impressive senses, young Midoriya, for you to immediately detect me so easily as something that brings a smile to my face on what I am going to teach," said Aizawa as Izuku smiles and retorts. "Sensei, you might be surprised about what I have learned," as the last of the class comes in. "Well class, let me introduce myself. I am Shota Aizawa, but some know me as Eraserhead," interrupted Izuku as Aizawa for the first in few times smirks at a student who knows his real identity. "Eraserhead, you mean the underground hero Eraserhead," said Momo as Izuku nods as everyone is awestruck at such a famed underground hero. "All right, now that everyone is here, we need to go out into the practice field," said Aizawa as everyone is confused, but Izuku notices something off about the directions, so he follows said direction, as does everyone. Everyone goes to the locker room to change. Inside of said locker rooms, the girls are changing into their UA-issued gym uniforms as they hear a shout of, "Hey guys, look at the peephole, I can see the women's locker room." Before a girl with earphone jacks could block it, Izuku says, "Block it up. You shouldn't be peeping on them. You should respect a lady's privacy and dignity," as he goes to plug it with some clay he had on him. "Now let's go. Our teacher is waiting," said Izuku as he gets in his gym uniform and walks out, where he is greeted by Momo and Mina, who smiles at Izuku for his kindness and respect for their privacy. "You're such a gentleman," said Momo as she smiles at the greenette in question, who gets a peck on the cheek from the pink-haired girl and Momo at the same time. Izuku has a slight blush at their peck as they move to the practice field. Mina and Momo look at each other with a bit of territorial glares. "Hey man, thanks for not peeping on me," said the girl with ear jacks logs. Walking out to the practice field, everyone except two are wondering why they are out on the field. "Okay, I want to see what you all can do before the class inaugural ceremony starts. It will be a through and quirk fitness assessment test," said Aizawa as he tosses Izuku the ball. "You're up first because you scored the highest in the entrance. That ball has a reading device that sends," said Aizawa as he looks at Izuku, who nods as he steps up to the plate. Izuku uses some of his standard natural strength to throw the ball at 536 meters in distance. "Wow, that just about broke the record in softball throwing," said a boy with red hair as he looks at Izuku in question, as everyone is in awe at the feat. "Okay, try using your quirk with that, Mr. Midoriya," said Aizawa as Izuku nods, getting another ball. Izuku suddenly goes primal. His gym uniform suddenly rips, showing his even more muscled build. The girls of UA blush at his form, while several of the boys admire the greenette's physique in a non-dual gaze, but a gaze of inspiration. Izuku proceeds to throw the ball, scoring a shocking 1050.60 meters, surprising everyone. Aizawa for his part was secretly using his eraser quirk on Izuku, surprising him greatly when it failed to erase his quirk. "This is an anomaly I have never seen before," thought Aizawa as he looks at Izuku with intrigue. Bakugo is shaking with rage as he charges at Izuku. "Deku, you bastard, tell me how you got your quirk, you damned nerd," shouted Bakugo as before he reached Izuku with an explosion, he is wrapped up in what seems to be an unbreakable cloth. Turning, Bakugo looks to see Aizawa looking at him. "Bakugo, if I ever see you attack a student like you tried to do, I will drop the hammer on you and expel you and forever block you from getting into UA. Is that clear?" said Aizawa in a tone that makes Bakugo back down and simmer down. Aizawa releases him as they continue the softball throw. Everyone thinks this would be easy, but Aizawa lets them know that if they slack up they score the lowest. Bakugo, after Uraraka Ochako throws the ball and scores infinity, steps up first, throwing and scoring 689.8 without his quirk, and throws the ball and sends an explosion. He got on his score 1045.07 meters. Each one of the tests were like a breeze for Izuku as he scored incredibly high, being tied with Ida in the 50-meter dash. One Mezzo Shoji he tied in the grip strength test, Bakugo and Yuga Aoyama, and lastly repeated sidesteps he tied with a boy named Mineta Minoru. Aizawa throughout all of it was shocked as he couldn't erase Izuku's at all. "Okay everyone, seeing as you had put all of your efforts into scoring, no one is going to be expelled," said Aizawa as everyone except Momo and Izuku are shocked by this prospect. "All of you were never in danger of being expelled. I wanted to see how you all would do in a high-stress situation, and so far you all passed. However, Bakugo, you need to control your temper, otherwise you'll not make it in this school, much less the hero world," said Aizawa as he looks at all of them, especially Bakugo. "So Momo, when did you figure it out?" asked Izuku as he looks at the Ravenet in question. "Possibly the same time that you did, Izuku," said Momo as she smirks and blushes as Izuku's muscles continue to tear the top of his gym uniform, showing more of his muscled torso. Izuku, noticing his uniform state of wear, turns off his bulky primal state as his muscles go back to their normal state. "Oh my," thought Momo as she looks at the greenette, despite not being in his primal state, is very well muscular as she sees muscles that rivals a world-class athlete. She isn't the only one, as Mina is also having the same thought as her. "Well class, time to show you around the school, so try not to get lost," said Aizawa as everyone goes back to the locker room. Inside of the locker room, the boys are getting dressed back into their uniforms. "Hey Izuku, I need to ask you something," asked a boy with red hair as Izuku turns towards him. "Yeah sure, what do you need?" Eijiro Kirishima is the name, and I wanted to ask, what's your workout routine? You look jacked, dude. I want to know so I can be manly just like you, asked Kirishima as he introduced himself to Izuku, who smirks at Kirishima's excitement. "Well Kirishima, I had trained in the natural method. It's the precursor of parkour and free running while also incorporating weightlifting and training in boxing and wrestling. You seem to be strong, so I would suggest doing this workout routine for 6 months. Here, I'll send you the link so you can get pumped up," said Izuku as he sends Kirishima the video links to parkour and free running along with weightlifting, boxing and several traditional wrestling arts. "Awesome, thanks man, I really appreciate it," said Kirishima as he gets dressed back in his uniform. "Hey Deku, just because you know all of these skills doesn't mean anything when you're up against any of the best quirk users in the world," said Bakugo in irate tone as Izuku then retorts. "A quirk is only just one's tool. It's the skill that makes the quirk valid. If you are reliant on your quirk's power, then you are just raw power without any skill behind your power," as Izuku gets his clothes on and walks out, leaving a seething Bakugo. Class 1A had undergone orientation of school grounds ranging from areas of that are part of the academics such as the library, gymnasium, and computer lab. Bakugo was looking at Deku, who was paying close attention to the orientation of school's safety functions and exists. The school day let out early as everyone was heading home. "How can that loser be this strong? He should be beneath me and all others," thought Bakugo as he looks at Izuku traveling home using his parkour skills. As he is going, he hears a shout of, "Hey Izuku!" Izuku turning and sees Mina looking up at him. "Oh hi Mina," said Izuku as he leaps down to her level. "What's going on?" asked Izuku, curious about his pink-skinned friend. "Oh nothing much, I was going to the arcade. I was wondering if you would join me," asked Mina as she wants to know more about the greenette in question. "Sure, I might as well," said Izuku as he and Mina are walking towards the arcade. Once there, they played games of various ages such as Mortal Kombat Champions, Street Fighter Thunder, Marvel vs Capcom Sigma, and even The Punisher, Warpath. The duo had played each game with vigor. During their time in the arcade, Mina had asked questions about Izuku's life. Izuku tells her cryptically about how he was a powerless boy until he rediscovered himself through a deep journey of sorts. Mina, for her part, is becoming more ensnared by the intrigue behind the mysterious greenette. As they kept playing different games. After Izuku and Mina had their fun at the arcade, they left towards their homes after telling each other goodbye. Izuku travels towards his home on the rooftops, traversing them with masterful ease. However, he is unaware of the two heroes following him from behind. These two being Midnight and Izuku, otherwise known as Eraserhead. "Okay Midnight, let's keep our distance, no use spooking young Midoriya before we can understand his strange powers," said Eraserhead as Midnight nods and retorts in a sensual tone. "Don't worry Eraser, after all I want to see what makes this boy so primal and powerful." Eraserhead's sweat drops at the statement as they keep up with Izuku's parkour skills. As Izuku is traveling, he sees a small gang of 15th Street punks hassling a woman in a wanting manner. Izuku, sensing them wanting more than they just to harass the woman, leaps down on two of them, knocking them unconscious. Izuku goes on the attack in a rather unique-looking fighting stance. In said stance, Izuku is intrigued as Izuku's hand placement in said fighting stance seems more fluid and capable as he blocks using a blocking technique that he has seen before. As Izuku blocks a punch and counters with an unorthodox headbutt to a punk's chest that knocks him to the ground hard. A block that breaks another punk's knee that opens him up for a back fist. Izuku blocks and counters with devastating effect with rapid efficiency as Izuku takes down 6 of them. From above, Midnight and Eraserhead look from above to see the fighting in awe. Izuku records the event to show Nezu the greenette's fighting prowess and skills. Izuku uses the fighting skills he learned from the Golden Temple to take apart the 15 punks. One punk tries to hit Izuku with a 2x4. Izuku counters this and breaks his face through it with his knee. Another tries to stab him, but Izuku uses a swift combination of a wristlock, elbow and knee strike that swiftly disables him. Another punk who seemed to be a kickboxer tried to kickbox with Izuku, but Izuku uses his own skill in kickboxing and beats him with a swift roundhouse through a feint left hook and a low leg sweep. One of the other punks had pulled a gun, but Izuku with swift reflexes uses one of the street punk's knives to disarm and disable him with a well-placed knife throw into the guy's hand to take the knife out of his hand. The biggest of the thugs tried to wrestle with him, but Izuku using his own wrestling skills defeats him using a suplex and a power bomb combination. Izuku knocks out the last one who was charging at him using a slashing downward hammer fist technique to knock him to the ground and unconscious. "Are you all right, ma'am?" asked Izuku as he looks at the woman in question. "Thank you, young man, you really saved me from those creeps," said the woman, who thanks him and leaves. "Well, better head home," thought Izuku as he goes back to the rooftops towards home. "Aizawa, did you see that the boy was able to take apart each of these punks like it was nothing? It was like he fought like a lion," said Midnight, smirking seductively at the Greenette's combat prowess. "Yes, using several forms of fighting, one of which is very much lesser known but surprisingly still effective," said Aizawa as he looks at the recording of Izuku's fight against the street punks that littered the alley, as he then calls the police for pick. Back with Izuku. Izuku had to explain to his mother about what happened and why he was late. Inko was surprised that he found a new friend, a girl no less, who invited him to an arcade. "Well, my son, I know you haven't been causing any trouble on purpose, but please try to keep the street fighting to a minimum. You are in the most prestigious school in all of Japan," said Inko as Izuku says, "I'll try, but I can't make any promises," as they reheat dinner and eat. Back with Aizawa and Midnight. The two, after arresting the street punks for attempted and mugging, they head towards UA to Nezu's office. "So, Eraser, what method of fighting that young Midoriya was using that you were referring to exactly?" asked a curious Midnight, as she wanted to know exactly what Eraserhead knows about the form Izuku was using. Izuku was using the KFM, or Kishi fighting method. It's a system of practical fighting developed by Justo Diguez and Andy Norman, two Jeet Kune Do practitioners. It's built on one's natural fighting instinct and personal growth. The blocking method Izuku was using was the Pensendor's triangle-style blocking that can allow the user to adapt to any attack and counter-attack with ferocious intent. It's unorthodox, as you have seen any attack could be launched from the practitioner. There was one legendary practitioner. His name was Connor Jack Moore, an American street fighter who had traveled around America for many years solving crime and fighting the criminal element as a nomad. He's a legend that gave Kishi its namesake during the early 2090s. He, however, died many years back of cancer, explained Aizawa as he shows Midnight the Kishi fighting methods footage, showing her the tactics, techniques and attack patterns. "Incredible, so Izuku used this system in that brawl in that alley?" asked Midnight as Aizawa nods. "Yes, but that is not all. He showed skill in kickboxing and traditional wrestling, showcasing each of his skills in full contact fighting using both," said Aizawa as Midnight has become more interested in the Greenette in a developmental manner that is nonual. "Well, let's get this footage to Nezu to show him what we saw," said Aizawa. They enter U ahead towards Nezu's office. The next day, Class 1A was working on designs for their hero suits. Izuku for his part is drawing a unique design of a hero suit. The suit drew influences from the chest plate used in ancient times by the Spartans on the center to be a lion made from a highly flexible but durable material that is also bulletproof. His pants to be similarly flexible and durable cargo pants that also support a utility belt for different items he had in mind for the support gear. Izuku had something in mind of his headgear, that being a Mongol Tatar-style helmet with arm bracers with tribal Mongol markings. His boots were the most unique design of it as Izuku, as he went with the Jika Tabi shoes with a more samurai feel to it. Izuku starts making the designs for his support items. Each item pertains to a weapon or tool used by the warriors and martial artists of the past. Kenpo gloves with a modification to allow for hard strikes while also being made of a special material that makes it able to form around his hands. Shuriken to allow for quick disarms and non-lethal takedowns and use for distractions. Reinforced tonfas for close quarters combat. Medical supplies and ration bars. Tactical grenades of a gas, concussive and flash explosion variety. Lockpicks and tools for purposes of infiltration. Izuku finishes his drawing and illustrations of his suit and support gear and turns them into the teacher. Izuku for his part is amazed by Izuku's suit and support items as he asks, "Why do you incorporate shuriken into support items?" as he looks at Izuku with interest. "Well, I would like to be able to subdue the villain with misdirection or direct action. As I have skills in both ninjutsu and kyusho jitsu," explained Izuku as everyone looks at him with interest. "Kyusho jitsu," said Mina. She looks at him with curiosity. Kyusho jitsu is the art of attacking pressure points in the human body to disable the opponent with a feathered touch to their weak points, explained Momo as she looks at Izuku in question. "Izuku, I didn't know you know such a martial art. I'm surprised that you know ninjutsu," said Mina as she looks at Izuku with question. "So what if he learns? It's not like he could hit my Bakugo never got to finish as Izuku leaps at him before he can react and hits 2 points in his neck that causes him to be mute and leaps back with masterful agility." "What was that? What did you just do him?" asked Mineta as he looks at Izuku in question. "I hit a point in his neck to take his voice. Don't worry, Izuku, his voice will return soon." "Oh, and Mineta, you better not be looking the girls' locker room, for I know a point for perverts will fear," said Izuku as Mineta shivers in fear at Izuku. "Wow, Izuku, you are a superbly competent," said Aoyama as he looks at Izuku. "Merci beaucoup, thank you so much, Aoyama, I really appreciate it," said Izuku as everyone looks in surprise at Izuku, who thanked the boy in French. "Ah, so you're multilingual," said Momo as she looks at Izuku in question. "Yes, I speak up to 10 languages," said Izuku as he looks at Momo, who is surprised by the boy in question. "Alright class, as much as you want to test Izuku on his multilingual skills, we need to get back to class," said Izuku as he looks at everyone with Izuku he looks at with a critical eye. "Highly skilled you are, Mr. Midoriya," thought Izuku as he thinks back at last night's events and the report they had on Izuku. Flashback night at UA High. Footage of Izuku overpowering the street punks is being watched by All Might and Principal Nezu. "Incredible," said All Might as he looks at Izuku knock the last man out with incredible technique and power. "Yes, it would seem that Izuku Midoriya has shown incredible levels of combat skills that few have in this world have," said Nezu as he looks at Izuku's use of the Kishi fighting method. "Yes, and it would seem that Izuku is well trained in martial combat with skills in a number of disciplines. But Izuku also seems to be very analytical," said Izuku as he shows footage of Izuku saving Bakugo after knocking him out and yanking him from the sludge pavilion. "I had also heard how the boy scolded Mount Lady, Kamui Woods and Slugger about standing around and instead of being adaptable," said Vlad King as he chuckles at 3 pro heroes being schooled by a teen who's not even a hero yet. "Yes, that Izuku boy is quite the maverick in his own right," said Snipe as he also heard about the incident. "But his power is an anomaly," said Izuku as everyone look at him in curiosity. "What do you mean?" asked a curious Nezu as he looks at the quirk erasing hero. "When I was during the physical evaluation test, I had used my quirk on Izuku and saw that his quirk did not react to mine at all. As if it wasn't a quirk to begin with all," said Izuku as everyone is in shock at this revelation. "What are you, Izuku Midoriya? You are powerful," said All Might. "Don't forget highly skilled," said Izuku as they look at the footage in question. Flashback end. "You are highly skilled and powerful. You powers are unique. I have never seen these abilities in my career as a hero," thought Izuku as he looks. They go over emergency procedures on building fires and building codes. Soon class is let out for lunch so they can reconvene for the next session on rescue theories and concepts. With Izuku, the Momo and Aoyama tests Izuku on the languages of English, French, German, Italian, Chinese, Russian, Mongol, Persian, Arabic, Turkish and Turkic, Romanese and Indian. The class for their part is amazed by Izuku's knowledge and skill, all except Bakugo, who seems to be getting angrier with Izuku for his multilingual skills. Izuku sees how Bakugo felt when he was in middle school. Izuku bumps into a girl with red hair holding a book titled Book of 5 Rings. "Pardon me, I did not see you there," said Izuku as he picks up the book in question and hands it back to the girl in question. "Thank you," said the girl in question as she smiles. "Izuku Midoriya, your name?" asked Izuku as he looks at the girl in question. Kendo Itsuka," said Kendo as she shakes Izuku's hand and both felt each other's hand. "My she is a strong one. Judging from these calluses, she is well versed in karate, thought Izuku as he feels her hands. My, he is very skilled in the martial arts. His hand tells me he has been through the ringer of serious training, thought Kendo as they let go. I must say you are a strong one. Your hands have seen some serious training in the martial arts. From what I can tell, you are very skilled in the martial arts, said Kendo as Izuku smirks and replies, yes, I get around many of the incredible teachers, they aren't around. I must say you yourself is an fierce fighter from the way your calluses feel. Kendo giggles. Well, I better be going. Hopefully we will see each other again sometime. To have a match sometime, said Kendo as she goes to her table. Momo and Mina are looking with jealous eyes at the redhead as they seem to have a new rival for Izuku's heart. After lunch is wrapped up, the class had went back to their lessons on building codes and fire exists. Izuku afterwards went home after going to a high-class gymnasium with Momo. Izuku is then followed by Aizawa and Midnight as they see he was able to disarm two gunmen with well-placed stones and take them down without much effort. Izuku, nearing his home, senses two people behind him. Sensing they are observing him, ignores them and decides to go home. The next day, Class 1A is sitting in class expecting a new lesson. I am here walking inside of the door like a normal person, said All Might as he walks inside of the classroom. Wow, All Might is here far out, said Jiro as she looks at the number 1 hero in question. All Might, what are you doing here? Asked Momo as she looks at the number 1 hero. Oh, I will be the one to be your advisor for your first battle training session, said All Might as Bakugo smirks evilly at the prospect of fighting Izuku. As Izuku mentally prepares himself as All Might speaks up. Before we begin, you all would need to have your hero suits, said All Might as a cart is rolled in with metallic suitcases. Wow, said Kirishima as he looks at his suit as everyone goes to change into their uniform. Well, I can't believe they went with my armor design, said Izuku as he soon opens his suitcase to see the hero suit he had drawn actually being made. One by one, Class 1A goes to suit up. Everyone admires their suits. When Izuku walks into the room, they look at his suit in awe as Momo walks up to him. Your suit is fierce looking, Izuku, said Momo as she looks at the suit to see it combines elements from medieval Japan, ancient Sparta, modern America and Mongolia. Ha, the nerd looks like an idiot with that armor, said Bakugo as he looks at Izuku. Better looking like an idiot than being a fool, retorted Izuku as Bakugo snarls as Izuku looks at him with a stoic look. Damn, that is manly, whispered Kirishima as he looks at the two. All right, everyone, follow me to the training area, said All Might as Izuku and Bakugo still locking eyes as everyone follows. As Izuku tilts his head gesturing for Bakugo to go. Bakugo growling just goes as Izuku follows from behind. Aizawa looks impressed at Izuku's calm demeanor when faced with aggressive opposition like Bakugo. As if Izuku was just a lion. You are more than meets the eye, Izuku Midoriya. Your combat skills are high class, your power an anomaly in a world where anomalies are just common occurrences, thought Aizawa as he thinks about the armor and support gear, seeing some of it weapons for a tactical police officer specializing in bare-knuckle takedowns. With Class 1A, the class was introduced to the goal of their combat training session as just simply heroes versus villains. They are to capture the bomb, which is guarded by the villains who would seek to stop the heroes from capturing the bomb. The hero team would be in pairs with the villains also being in pairs. Izuku and Kirishima are paired together as heroes. Bakugo is paired together with Ida as the villains. Bakugo is excited to finally put Izuku in his place beneath him. As they head up into the dummy skyscraper. Okay, Kirishima, you ready to do this? Asked Izuku as he looks at his redhead partner who armors up in his quirk. Born ready, Izuku bro, said Kirishima as they get ready to fight. As Izuku checks his equipment to see that the shuriken are blunted. Let the battle training session begin, said All Might through the speakers of the control room. Come on Deku, let's see what you got, you damned cat, said Bakugo as he gets ready for Izuku. Let's do this, thought Izuku as he checks his sport gear. A battle of wills is going to be launched during battle training. Will Bakugo's irate will overcome the iron will of Izuku? Only fate can tell. Kirishima and Izuku are making plans to attack to fight Bakugo and Ida. Izuku checks his equipment for the battle ahead. Alright, let's go head on at them, said Kirishima as Izuku stops him. Wait, Kirishima, let's not rush into battle without a plan. I know that our opponents, or rather my opponent seeing as Bakugo, would go forward to try to beat me into submission while leaving Ida to guard the bomb. Don't meet the opponent on their terms, do it on yours, said Izuku as Kirishima. But Izuku bro, it would be manly, said Kirishima as he looks at Izuku, who replies with words of wisdom. Kirishima, I know you're a strong dude, but you have to remember strength alone can only take you so far in all situations. It's adaptability and your ability to think that would make your strength applicable to any situation. Kirishima thinks on this and nods to the plan Izuku has for him. Okay Izuku bro, I'll listen. But let me ask you, how do you know Bakugo will attack? Asked Kirishima as he looks at Izuku. Because he wants nothing more but to put me in a seemingly evaporating place. Because a month ago I didn't have these abilities that you seen in the entrance exam, said Izuku as Kirishima understands what Izuku is taking about. So you're a late bloomer? Asked Kirishima as he looks at Izuku in question. Not exactly, I will tell you about it sometime, but right now we need to focus, said Izuku as they get their game faces on. Right, said Kirishima as the start alarm sounded. On the top floor of the empty skyscraper. Hey, Four Eyes, watch the bomb. While I go pummel Deku, said Bakugo. Hey wait, what is your plan? You're being reckless to just leave me with the bomb, said Ida as Bakugo goes down the left stairwell. Back to Izuku and Kirishima. Theme end Burning Heart by Survivor. Okay Kirishima, I need you to go to the stairway to my left, not the right one, said Izuku as Kirishima nods as he does as he is told. Okay Izuku bro, I hope you'll be alright, said Kirishima as he runs up the left stairway. Izuku cracks his neck as he gets ready for Bakugo leaping onto a pillar using his claws to stick to it. Izuku waits for Bakugo to burst through the room. Bakugo bursting through the room and shouts, Deku. Bakugo looks around and sees nothing until he is pounced on by Izuku, who hits him with an elbow smash, knocking the wind out of him, getting his attention. Not my name, but you ranged, said Izuku as he flips out of the way and dodges explosions from Bakugo. Izuku throws a concussion grenade at Bakugo's feet, knocking him back through a wall. Izuku lands prepared to fight with Kirishima. Kirishima is running up and climbing up the stairway. He has absorbed some of the parkour skills Izuku had learned. While he may not be able to move like Izuku, he can move almost like a trained acrobat and freerunner. Leaping up to the top floor, Kirishima lands in a roll and comes close to the door leading to the bomb room. Looking inside, he sees Ida, but the bomb is not there. Kirishima bursts through the room and shouts, "What have you done with the bomb, villain?" said Kirishima as he looks at Ida with a critical eye. "Well hero, why don't you make me tell you?" said Ida as Kirishima armor up using his quirk. Back with Izuku. Bakugo is playing keep away from Izuku as he knows that once Izuku get close it's over. Bakugo's a scrapper and a low-level brawler at best. But Izuku is an expert in martial arts and hand-to-hand combat. The battle Bakugo has to fight is a ranged one. But first he has to find Izuku. Bakugo is smart, he's trying to keep me at a distance. Hopeful the smoke will keep me hidden, thought Izuku as he moves from behind the pillar as Bakugo came to fight him. "Deku, where are you? Show yourself," shouted Bakugo as he is getting angry at the cat and mouse game. Inside of the observation room, everyone is astonished by Izuku's skills and tactics. Mina sees Izuku move almost like Batman from the Arkham video game series. Incredible, the boy is a natural in stealth and combat tactics. He has blended into the environment like a hunter, thought All Might as he observes Bakugo's increasing frustration. Back in the simulation, Kirishima is battling Ida, trying to land a hit on the speedy boy in question. Ida dodges with relative ease as he tries to find better position. "Agar, I can't hit him, what am I supposed to do?" thought Kirishima as he tries to fight Ida, who is dodging his attack. "Come on, hero, you can do better than this," said Ida as he flips over a punch from Kirishima. Back with Izuku. Bakugo is getting annoyed as he has experienced a series of hellish sneak attacks that involved him being punched, kicked, clubbed and hit with concussive bombs from the greenette. "Stop this shadow shit and come out to fight, damn Deku," shouted Bakugo as Izuku leaps down across from him. Finally, said Bakugo as he smirks at Izuku, who has one hand behind his back. Bakugo, seeing that his gauntlets are full of sweat, smiles as he pulls the pin. Izuku, seeing this, readies for what's about to happen. So those gauntlets are made to trap some of his sweat and keep it for a more powerful attack. I still have one flash grenade. My smoke grenade will be for something else left. I can drop it as soon as he lets out his haymaker, thought analytically Izuku as he readies himself for the devastating counter-strike on Bakugo. Deku, I finally get to try out this move on you. You damn loser, said Bakugo as Izuku dodged his high-powered explosion after throwing his cooked flash grenade down seconds before the powerful blast. Inside the observation room, young Midoriya no, shouted All Might as everyone looks in horror at the powerful blast in point-blank range as when Izuku dropped a flash bang. Mina grows worried for her crush. However, Momo looks with pause as soon as the flash dies down. She sees Bakugo standing and notices Izuku right behind him. Look, Izuku is all right, said Momo as everyone looks to see Izuku all right without a scratch. Mina looks ecstatic about Izuku's safety from a very powerful explosion. Momo notices this and smiles. Back in the simulation battle, Bakugo chuckles at Izuku's seeming defeat. He turns around to leave until he sees a hard right cross to his jaw coming. Bakugo is stunned by the punch as he tries to fight back against a whirlwind counterattack Izuku is launching. Izuku, with his skills in Kisi, landing punches, kicks, knees, elbows and lastly a headbutt to Bakugo chest, knocking the wind out of him and beating him to a pulp. Bakugo tries to fight back when Izuku hits Bakugo in a nerve cluster in his arms. Bakugo tries to left and move his arms to find he can't. What did you do to me, you damned Deku? Growled Bakugo as Izuku looks at him with a disappointed stoic look. I hit 2 nerve clusters in your arms, you can't move them for an hour or two, said Izuku as he then hits a nerve cluster on Bakugo's neck to paralysis him and leaves him tied up with capture tape. Izuku moves towards the stairway, hearing Kirishima struggle with Ida. Izuku move up towards the top in an acrobatic manner of skill, leaving Bakugo to start to get the feeling of his arms and legs back through nothing but willpower, as he then tears off the capture tape, effectively breaking the rules. Damned Deku, growled out Bakugo as he follows slowly behind Izuku. With Izuku stumbles upon a battle of speed versus strength as Ida and Kirishima fight to a standstill. Izuku leaps in and assists Kirishima by blindsiding Ida with a clothslane. Izuku using his pressure points on Ida to disable him. Izuku wraps the capture tap on him and search for the bomb. Okay Kirishima, let's find that bomb, said Izuku as before he can begin the search Bakugo hits Izuku with a blast, knocking him out the building. Hero team wins, due to young Bakugo breaking the rules of engagement, said All Might as Bakugo, still seeing red, leaps out of the building to confront Izuku. Izuku landed on a dummy car on the outside as shadow covers his eyes. Bakugo lands and shouts, how do you like that, you lose? Bakugo never got to finish as Izuku quickly transformed into his lion state with a pissed off expression at Bakugo's behavior. So what's, you turned into a big puss? Bakugo never got to finish again as Izuku pounced on him and paw smacks him into a building, knocking him unconscious. Everyone come to check up on the pair and sees Izuku in his lion state. I really hate cheaters, especially when they break the rules to a combat simulation, said Izuku still in his lion state. Well class, can any of you explain who was the MVP of the situation? Asked All Might as Momo steps up and answers. Well, it was Midoriya. He had planned and coordinated with Kirishima during with his combat skills and tactics. However, another person that should also have the MVP spot was Ida because he concealed the bomb from them both, said Momo as All Might is astonished by the girl's intelligence and analytics. Okay, that's a very good answer, and seeing as Bakugo broke the rules to this exercise I would have to agree, said All Might as he turns to Izuku, who is sitting down as many of the girls, none more than Mina and Momo, look at Izuku with awe as Momo and Mina go and rub and caress his fur. Incredible, his fur is amazingly soft yet so strong, thought Momo as Mina has similar ideas. Okay girls, that's enough, it's time to get back to the exercise while Izuku takes Bakugo to the nurse's office. Izuku, could you please transform back into your human state? said All Might as he looks at the dark golden lion in question as Izuku does so, with some of the girls blushing at Izuku's toned godlike athletic build. Izuku, seeing his clothes except thankfully underwear are destroyed, asks, "Ahem, All Might, can I have some pants? See, my hero outfit isn't made out of the same material as my underwear." As All Might nods and hands him a pair of cargo shorts and a t-shirt as Momo blushes at the muscular definition of the greenette. The simulations went on, with the most interesting being Denki Kaminari and Shoto Todoroki against Momo and Mina. The pairs seem evenly matched until Momo disabled Denki using insulating foam. Momo, however, was defeated when she was frozen by Todoroki's ice. Mina and Todoroki had fought to a standstill, seeing as Todoroki's ice isn't able to freeze Mina's acid attacks. Thankfully for Todoroki, Mina ran out of time. After school, everyone heads home. Bakugo had gotten suspended for his disregard to the rules of the exercise and for attacking Izuku. At the moment, Izuku can be seen going home. He thinks about how his training has paid off for his dream to be possible, especially his training in the martial arts. Izuku can think back to how his training had been under each of his teachers. One part of Izuku's training was the first thing for a hero learning how to throw a punch. Flashback the first 2 training years of Izuku Midoriya in the Golden Temple. Izuku can be seen punching a punching bag with weighted boxing gloves. "Come on Izuku, remember head movement so you won't be hit in the face so much, you gotta keep going, your opponent will push you so you need to push back hard. Your offense needs to be devastating, every punch accurate and dangerous, each punch where you hit em at," said a man of an athletic stature in classical athletic training gear of the US military. "Yes sir, Coach Dempsey," said Izuku as he punched and stepped more aggressively, making the legendary Jack Dempsey happy with his dedication to his training. Izuku trained diligently under Jack Dempsey, learning his brand of boxing and hand-to-hand fighting as he started to train to the best of his learning, absorbing skills never emphasis by modern experts of hand-to-hand combat. Developing his fighting ability and instincts as he trains his body into fighting condition for his age. During 2 years of training under Jack Dempsey, Izuku had beaten up several bullies trying to beat him for his quirklessness, each one of them either being part of a gang or just lone wolf types that want to feel big picking on the quirkless. Flashback end. Izuku can remember his training under Jack Dempsey, learning how to fight on the street and on the battlefield. While Izuku knows some of what Jack taught were archaic, they're still effective for hand-to-hand combat. Izuku walks through a dark alley unaware of the watchers that follow him. Izuku, while walking, sees a man existing a shop that sells sports gear and protein shakes for the quirkless on the corner of the alley. He remembers what one of his teachers told him about his physicality. Flashback in the Golden Temple 2.5 years earlier. Izuku was amazed by how his body and physique had developed into a classical all-around athlete thanks to some of his martial arts teachers. "Wow, I didn't know training here could turn me into an athletic specimen," said Izuku as he heard a chuckle from a man in training gear of the modern era. "Well, actually your anabolic level has increased due to the high ambient energy here. It revitalized your cellular makeup to help purify your body of any unnecessary ailments so you could grow and develop as you train here," said the man as he looks at Izuku. "Who might you be?" asked Izuku as he looks at the man. "My name is Tiberius Angelo of America. I'm of a proud ancestry that dates back to the Byzantine Empire. I will be teaching you the subject of all-around athletics, fighting tactics and techniques, and lastly athletic science. Hopefully I can help you get into all-around shape in no time," said Tiberius as Izuku looks at him with surprise in his eyes. Izuku, for the months leading up to the UA exam, is training his body in all-around athletics to near-perfect performance under Tiberius. From rock climbing, weightlifting to the taxing nature of horseback riding, parkour, gymnastics, swimming, unarmed combative and wrestling skills. From Tiberius he learned the importance of athletics sciences from biomechanics, biochemistry to anatomy, physiology, kinesiology and lastly psychology. Izuku learns the importance behind each field in an in-depth detail, as he grows into a powerful athlete. Flashback end. Izuku, after walking out of the dark alley towards his home, as he sees 2 men hassling an old couple as he steps up. "Excuse me sir, are these 2 bothering you?" asked Izuku as he looks at the 2 men in question. "Mind your own business, kid," said one of the men as Izuku turns to them. Sorry, I was talking to them, said Izuku as he turns back towards the elderly people. The man goes to swing at the greenette when the old man sees this shouts, "Watch yourself, young man," as Izuku weaves the punch and throws a counter that hits the man and makes him stand back. "Kid, you messed up now. Me and my buddy here are some of the toughest street fighters in town," said the man as he and his friend get ready to rumble. "The toughest in the town, huh? I don't see it," said Izuku as the one from before charges at Izuku only to be hit with a rising axe handle that knocks him out. The other man charges at Izuku, throws 2 hooks at Izuku, who dodges only for Izuku to throw 2 elbows at the man's chest, knocking the air out of his chest as Izuku finishes with a frontal snap kick that knocks the man out. "Thank you, sir, for the heads up. These 2 claim to be the toughest in town. Looks like they are the gutless in town," said Izuku as he shakes the old man's hand. "No problem, son, you know how to handle yourself in the street. Back in my day I would have taught these men a hard lesson myself," said the old man as Izuku chuckles at the spirit of the old man in appreciation of his past. "Well, have a nice night, you two," said Izuku as he walks home. "Well, I reckon that boy is made of gold, for he's a real ideal of a hero, don't you say, Vlad King?" said Snipe as he turns towards Vlad King. "Yes, he certainly is. I am equally amazed by Izuku's fighting prowess. But from what I can tell, he doesn't seem to be going to anyone who could give him that type of power. We'll keep watch for tomorrow in case something clicks on our student. Right now let's head home and visit those 2 places undercover tomorrow," said Vlad as Snipe agrees to this plan. The next day, Izuku can be seen on the move on the rooftops of the city, moving with acrobatic grace. Izuku is met by Momo, who has also moved through the city. The 2 land in front of the gate as they walk in. "So Izuku, tell me, where did you learn those tactics and skills?" asked a curious Momo as she looks at the greenette in question as Mina walks up behind them, also wanting to know. "Well, 7 old men and women, all of them friends from different countries, that had taught me a great deal of my combat skills. They passed away after I was done with my training, but they left me a parting gift," said Izuku as he is trying to keep the secret behind his combat skills being from some of the best fighters in human history. "Well, whoever they are, they have turned you into quite the one-man army," said Momo as she looks at the greenette in question. "Yeah, I'll say," said Mina as she walks in between the 2 as they walk into the building. "So Izuku, that hero outfit you had, I was meaning to ask what's the idea behind it?" asked Mina as she looks at Izuku as Momo wants to know as well. "Well, it was due to some of the teachers and their countries of origins. One of my teachers named Cthulhu, who is named after the great-granddaughter of Genghis Khan. She taught me about the important martial skills a hero would need, ranging from wrestling, athleticism, battle tactics, archery and marksmanship. I was inspired by her ancestors' armor and gear. I most of all loved how Mongol helmets were designed, seeing a past as nomads and a warrior people. From a man by the name Tiberius Angelo I had gotten the idea of the vest from his Greek Hellenistic ancestry of his Byzantine ancestors after he trained me in pemmican, fighting tactics and athletic sciences that had helped me train for the entrance exam. The gear came from a ninja master who descends from Hanzo Hattori named Hanzo Genryu, who trained me in ninjutsu and swordsmanship, Tiansu, a martial artist who practiced both Chinese and Tibetan martial arts, and a descendant of Anthony Joseph Drexel Biddle Sr. named Joseph Felix, taught me a refinement of his ancestors' military close-quarters combat methods and tactics, explained Izuku, Momo and Mina, who are shocked by how highly trained Izuku is. "Highly trained, and very strong. What are you, Izuku Midoriya?" thought Momo as Mina has the same thought about the greenette. As all 3 of them enter the school and walk to class, Izuku for his part reevaluates his armor's material to look into having more malleable materials. Izuku also looks into adding a stun baton like tonfa into his gear. Classes went on without a hitch. Aizawa is still curious about the greenette and his abilities and training, as Aizawa has never met anyone as well trained as Izuku when it comes to his martial skills. From what Aizawa has noted from Izuku, he's very well equipped for battle, and he wanted to see how versatile the young Izuku is, so thankfully next Thursday he will travel to the USJ. Aizawa could in the meantime find out what Izuku's ability is exactly to be able to be unaffected by his quirk and transform into a lion, possessing superhuman strength along with other abilities and attributes he may possess. Momo for her part feels more attracted to the greenette for his amazing ability and his beautiful smile that can bring her calmness as well as his hard work ethic to get where he was. Mina was on a similar page with Momo as she had admired the greenette's work ethic. Okay, class 1 need you all to decide on a class president and a class vice president, said Izuku as the class talk among themselves. Kaminari and Mineta had a perverse moment of wanting to be class president and vice president, but Izuku let them know the danger of being class president when it comes to the opposite. Hey, why not have Izuku and Momo be class president and vice president, said Kirishima as he looks at the two. Yeah, they're smart and some of the most powerful in the class, said Jiro as she makes her input known. I think we need a vote and need to wait as everyone isn't here. As you can see, Bakugo is suspended, so we need to make the vote fair, said Tenya as he reasoned that why he doesn't like the rude boy, it is important everyone gets to vote. Before they could continue with their conversation, alarms can be heard as everyone rushes out of the room to see a horde of reporters rushing inside of the gate. Students are panicking at the alarms until Izuku soon lets out a roar using his lion-based roar that gets everyone to shut up. Calm down everyone, it's just reporters outside, we aren't under attack. It was a false alarm, said Izuku as everyone goes back to their respective classrooms. Izuku is greatly impressed with Izuku being able to take command and get everyone under calm and under control. But he takes this mind off of this fact to assess what happened. Looking over at the reporters who were told to leave by Cementos and Vlad King. He sees that the gate was somehow opened as well as the alarming going off suddenly. He thinks it was nothing but needs to be sure. Class 1 need to see why the alarm went off, so I will appoint Izuku Midoriya and Tenya Iida class president and vice class president. Listen to them and behave, said Izuku as he gives Izuku no room to argue as he walks out to investigate. So Izuku, what should we do before Izuku gets back? Asked Mina as she is curious about what to do with her greenette crush. Well, I was thinking of helping out on some homework if any of you need any help, said Izuku as Mina shakes her head in disbelief. Hey Izuku, I was meaning to ask, what is your quirk exactly? Asked Momo as she is curious of her shared crush in question. Yeah, you have superhuman strength, and a lion quirk of sorts, so what is your quirk, dude? Asked Kirishima as Izuku thinks of a way that could challenge his classmates' view on his abilities. That is a secret that you would have to solve with this riddle, said Izuku as everyone look at him as Iida asks, what riddle is that? What is the most fundamental and integral part of any culture that ties a nation to the past for it to have a future? Asked Izuku as everyone thinks on the question that Izuku asked. Momo and Mina are thinking hard as they want to know the answer to know what Izuku's quirk is. With Izuku is in the office to see what caused the alarm to sound. He finds out that the office was somehow burglarized by an unknown assailant who manages to do this in broad daylight. Full of heroes in the school, Izuku looks over the footage of the camera in the room, only to find that the camera was blocked up by paint of sorts before the robbery commenced. The robber then triggered the alarms to create a diverse to slip away in the crowd of reporters. Damn, whoever did this has a professional's signature. From how he or she got in, the suspect had to have insightful knowledge of our security system and where we store information on the students, thought Izuku as he looks over the footage in the room. Izuku looks over the room to see that it is 14 stories up from the ground floor. Looking over the window, Izuku looks at the ground where the thief could have came through. Interesting, whatever quirk was used, the individual seems to have scaled or flown up to this floor without any detection, thought Izuku as he proceeds to go back to the classroom. With Momo, school had let out for the day. Momo for her part is trying to figure out Izuku's riddle. She looks at the technology, but that wasn't it. Looked into art and found that wasn't it. She was drawing blanks at the riddle's question. She goes to think on the subject some more as she works on her homework. With Mina was having the same result as her rival. She isn't able to find the answer at the moment either as she looks at her homework. What could this riddle be? Thought Mina as she looks over her algebra. Many of their classmates are having the same issues with the riddle. Time skip the next Wednesday. Class 1A has still been trying to figure out what Izuku's riddle is. They still haven't been able to figure it out, not even the more educated students like Shoto Todoroki, Momo Yaoyorozu and Tenya Iida. Bakugo was led in on the subject of the riddle and found it frustrating to find said answer to the riddle. Izuku lets the class know of the field trip to a training center for rescue training that is to happen tomorrow. Izuku had also learned of this riddle to understand the Greenette's abilities. He himself tried his hand and found he was answered incorrectly. At the moment Momo and Mina are walking the streets together. They had decided to put their feelings aside to work together to find the answer to the riddle. They traveled to a local library to look through books on the instrumental elements of cultures. They soon reach a finding that connects each culture with the fundamental element to all the cultures. So that's what it is, said Mina as she and Momo finally found the answer. Yes, I can't believe we missed it. It was right in front of us, said Momo as she sees the answer in a book that had shown them what they needed to know. Time skip Thursday. All right everyone, we move in an orderly file, no pushing, looking at you Bakugo, said Izuku as they all get on the bus heading towards the training center. So sensei, what training center are we going to be heading to? Asked Izuku, curious of his sensei. Well, it's a center that specializes in rescue operations in different climates and terrains. That simulates the real deal, answered Izuku as he looks at the intrigued Greenette in question. Hey Izuku, me and Momo had figured out your riddle, said Mina with a triumphant smile. Oh, and what is it? Asked Izuku smirking at the two. It is religion and the mythology surrounding it that is the instrumental element of all culture, said Momo as she looks at Izuku who is smiling. You are correct. Now that you have solved the riddle I will tell you. The truth is I don't have a quirk, said Izuku as everyone is looking at Izuku with shocked looks as Mina laughs thinking it to be a joke. Ah, good one Izuku, that was good, but seriously what is your quirk? Asked Mina as Izuku looks calmly at her as she sees Izuku as serious. No way you were able to do all that stuff in the entrance exam and in the combat exercise. No way you have a quirk, said Tsuyu as she looks at Izuku. Well, that is due to something I discovered, or rather rediscovered, said Izuku, further confusing his classmates at his cryptic wording. What do you mean? Asked Momo as she looks at Izuku in question as he continues. In places such as Tibet, Mongolia, Siberia, India and other places there have been those who have discovered secrets to superhuman abilities and powers that are not like what you have seen today. Shamans from the Americas, Mongolia, Siberia, adepts from Tibet, and sages from India and China. They all have discovered secrets about the human body and what the human spirit can do that no one has ever learned of, explained Izuku as everyone is curious at what Izuku is saying. As Momo, who understands what he is saying, says. But this is just mythology and superstition. Not a real hard scientific fact. Momo as she is disbelieving at what Izuku is implying about his abilities being. Who says that it is just stories? Men of science who only studied the physical nature of the world to try and disprove something that is beyond their comprehension when it comes to looking into something that has been tapped into by the ancients. No one can truly say, even the most well-studied scientist. My powers aren't a quirk but what those individuals have discovered, said Izuku as Momo looks at him with a confusion as he then commands his ki to form a small ethereal-like lion as it goes towards Momo, who looks at it in shock as it nuzzles her faces as Izuku uses his quirk on Izuku to cancel his quirk but discovers that Izuku's power isn't a quirk but what he learned. Izuku-sensei, I see that you're using your quirk to try and cancel mine. It's not a quirk to cancel, it's something of a power that predates all quirks, said Izuku as he dispels the lion. Incredible, said Iida as he looks at the Greenette in question. As does everyone. Bakugo looks at Izuku with jealousy and tremendous rage. Shoto is rather amazed by Izuku's powers. So what can you do with this power? Asked Momo as she looks at her crush with curiosity. Well, you have seen some of it but not all of it, said Izuku as everyone is looking at him with curiosity as they arrive at the training center, which happens to be the USJ. As they step out, Izuku senses something off about the trip as he uses his animal keen senses around the building, sensing something wrong with doors and the atmosphere inside as they walk in. They are welcomed by the Space Hero 13. Ochako is excited to see her idol. Welcome to the USJ. Now some of you are think this is the United Studios of Japan, but this is the Unforeseen Simulation Joint, a simulation center to simulate rescues in different environments, said 13 as everyone looks around at the sight, not noticing that Izuku is sensing around for what's about to happen, as Izuku soon senses disturbances in the air as different villains start popping up. Ah, cool, they even have life like robots, said Kirishima as Izuku then says, beating Aizawa to the punch. Those aren't robots, those are real villains. We are under attack, said Izuku as he gets ready to fight, as his eyes flash hazel with slits as Momo and Mina looks at his eyes to see those fierce lion eyes. 13, protect the students, said Aizawa as he leaps into battle. 13, before she holds back, sees Izuku leap over her with incredible athleticism as he stands back to back with Aizawa. Izuku, get back, these are professionals, they aren't like those thugs and gang members, said Aizawa as Izuku smirked. Well, I'm not a normal you a student, said Izuku as the duo get ready to fight. Soon a battle commences as villains leap out at Izuku and Aizawa as they fight off the group. Tenya, Ida, I need you to go get help. There is an access door underneath the urban environment rescue area, said 13 as Ida nodded as he runs there as the class stands their ground against the villains that got past 13. Ida making it through the access door and out of the building, going for help as his fellow students are fighting for their lives in environments that actually helps their quirks. Izuku takes on 15 villains bare-handed, knocking them unconscious as he goes on a rampage, shocking the leader of the villain group in question who had arrived. The villain had to be around the class's age group. He appears to have an outfit comprised leather and hands. Next to him is a man in a sharply dressed suit without a jacket who appears to be made of black smoke or mist. Quote. Wow, who's the level 25 player? Said the leader as he sees Izuku kick a downed villain towards small group of villains. Yes, Shigaraki, it would seem to be one of the students, and he seems to have highly advanced combat skills to be taking apart the villains, said the mist man in question. No matter, let's take care of those level 1s and Kurogiri get Nomu to take care of the beat-em-up duo, said Shigaraki as the now named Kurogiri with a wave of his hand, as soon many of Class 1A are suddenly teleported in different parts of the USJ, leaving Izuku, Aizawa and 13 fighting the villains. Aizawa, Izuku and 13 finds themselves facing off against villains left and right as the numbers of villains start to swarm in. Aizawa and Izuku are fighting off multiple villains as 13 engages with the mysterious Kurogiri, who seems to have the power of portal generation. The two fought seemingly to a standstill until Kurogiri uses her own powers on 13, disabling her. Before Kurogiri could do anything, Izuku sends him flying with a punch as Aizawa takes down the rest of the assaulting force. Kurogiri teleporting himself and flipping upright lands right next to Shigaraki, who looks irate at the greenette tearing about his forces, shouts out, "Bring out the Nomu!" as Kurogiri teleports a being with black skin, a bird's head shape and an exposed brain. "Nomu, kill these two," commanded Shigaraki as the named Nomu charges at Aizawa, who is overpowered. Aizawa is injured by Nomu as he is about to stomp out Aizawa until Izuku interfered with a flying side kick that sends Nomu flying 25 meters. Izuku turns towards Aizawa, who was massively injured. Before Izuku could say anything to Aizawa, Nomu charges at Izuku with a punch as he rolls out of the way. Class 1A, who escaped their zones, looks on to the imminent battle in question. Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, Izuku and Nomu engages in a fierce battle. Izuku incorporates a wrestler-style assault on the Nomu, using his skills in wrestling and pamakan to fight on par with the Nomu's animalistic fighting style. Both are hitting hard, trading blows with each other. Izuku taps into his lion spirit abilities as he pushes Nomu on the back foot. Soon the two break away as the Nomu seems to be regenerating from his attacks as Shigaraki shouts, "Stupid level 25, no matter how hard you try you can't defeat this Nomu, it was made to kill All Might. It has both shock absorption and regeneration," as Izuku, hearing that this Nomu is really something that was created, starts to channel even more strength from his ki to do what he needed to do. The two re-engages the fight when Izuku sends out powerful explosively like blast at the Nomu, blowing off its arm, as soon turns into his lion state and pounces on top of Nomu, tearing at the creature with its claws as it then aims at the creature's jugular, slicing it open as it starts to bleed out as Izuku uses Lion's Roar to blow its head completely off and blowing a hole in the building, killing it instantly. "No fair, no fair, you cheated, you cheater," said Shigaraki as soon the heroes arrive with All Might through the holes. "This isn't over," I will get you next time level 25. Said Shigaraki as Kurogiri teleports him and himself away before they could be captured by the heroes as All Might walks up to Izuku, who seems slightly tired from the fight he had with Nomu. Are you alright, young Midoriya? Asked All Might as he looks at Izuku in question as he nods and says, yes, I am fine, but Mr. Aizawa needs hurt. As Aizawa is being seen by some medics as Izuku walks up. Trouble child, you one maverick I am glad to have in my class with your strange abilities. Hopefully I can make a real hero out of you yet, said Aizawa as Izuku nods in understanding as he is taken to the hospital for his treatment. Izuku for his part is blocked from behind by Mina and Momo, who have never felt scared in their lives, as he comforts them. Well, this is a new journey I will experience for many years, thought Izuku as Mina and Momo look at their shared boy crush in question to see if he was alright, only to see his wounds gained from the battle heal. To be continued. I hope you enjoyed this story. Also remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.